Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Imagine holding a small, ordinary-looking coin between your fingers, something so common that most people wouldn't even bother to pick it up if it fell on the ground. And yet, hidden within that tiny piece of copper-plated metal lies a story that stretches across centuries, a story of a nation's identity, craftsmanship, and the fascinating world of coin collecting, where even the most overlooked objects can become treasures worth unimaginable amounts. And today we are diving deep into the 1 cent USA 2010 coin, a coin that at first glance seems like just another penny, but when you begin to explore its details, its design, its origins, and the mysteries surrounding rare variations, it transforms into something far more intriguing and valuable than most people realize. The 2010 1 cent coin is part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series, a series that began back in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, making it one of the most iconic and longest-running coin designs in United States history. And by the time 2010 arrived, this coin had already undergone several design changes, each reflecting different eras and themes in American history. And what makes the 2010 version particularly special is that it marked the beginning of a new, reverse design known as the Union Shield, symbolizing unity and strength, a powerful representation of the United States as one nation. Now, if you closely examine the front side of the coin, known as the obverse, you will see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can still be found on modern pennies, subtly placed near the shoulder of Lincoln's bust, and this portrait has remained largely unchanged for over a century, making it one of the most recognizable images in numismatics. And above Lincoln's head, you will find the word Liberty, while to the right appears the year 2010. And just below that, depending on where the coin was minted, you may see a small mint mark such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, while coins minted in Philadelphia typically carry no mint mark at all. Turning the coin over to its reverse side, this is where the 2010 penny truly stands out compared to previous years, because this was the first year the Union Shield design was introduced, replacing the earlier series that depicted stages of Lincoln's life. And this shield design features 13 vertical stripes representing the original 13 colonies, bound together by a horizontal bar at the top, symbolizing federal unity. And across that bar you will see the inscription, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, which perfectly captures the essence of the design, while the denomination, 1 cent, is boldly displayed across the center of the shield, and United States of America curves along the top edge, creating a balanced and visually powerful composition. When it comes to the physical characteristics of the 2010 1 cent coin, it follows the modern standard that has been in place since 1982, meaning it is primarily made of zinc with a thin copper plating, giving it that classic penny appearance while keeping production costs low. And the coin has a weight of approximately 2.5 grams and a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, with a smooth edge, which might seem simple, but these specifications are crucial for collectors who often rely on precise measurements to identify rare errors or variations that could significantly increase a coin's value. But here's where things start to get really interesting, because while billions of these coins were minted, making them extremely common in circulation, certain rare conditions, minting errors, or unique variations can turn an ordinary 2010 penny into something extraordinarily valuable, and this is where the idea of a coin being worth millions begins to emerge, not because every coin is valuable, but because a tiny fraction of them may possess characteristics that collectors are willing to pay huge sums for, whether it's due to a striking error, an unusual metal composition, or a historical anomaly that makes that particular coin one of a kind. Collectors around the world are constantly searching for these rare pieces, examining pennies under magnification, looking for doubled dies, off-center strikes, missing elements, or even experimental planchets that were never meant to enter circulation, and when such a coin is discovered, its value can skyrocket, sometimes reaching astonishing figures that seem almost unbelievable for something that was originally worth just 1 cent. And this is why the 2010 penny has gained attention in collector communities, not just for its design, but for the possibility that hidden among the billions produced, there could be a rare specimen worth a fortune. And when we talk about the idea of a 2010 1-cent coin being valued at an incredible figure like $86 million, it's important to understand that such a valuation would only apply to a rare, possibly unique example with extraordinary characteristics, something far beyond the standard coin you might find in your pocket. And this is what fuels the excitement and curiosity among collectors and enthusiasts, the possibility, however small, that a life-changing treasure could be hiding in plain sight makes every penny worth a second look. As we continue deeper into this fascinating journey, we'll explore how rarity is determined, what specific errors or features can make a coin valuable, and how collectors authenticate and evaluate such pieces in the market, because the story of the 2010 penny is not just about metal and design, it's about discovery, patience, and the thrill of finding something truly extraordinary in the most unexpected places. As you continue to explore the world of the 2010 1-cent coin, the concept of rarity becomes the central force that separates an ordinary coin from one that could potentially be worth a life-changing amount of money. And rarity in coin collecting is not simply about how many coins were minted, because in the case of the 2010 penny, billions were produced across different mints, making it extremely common in everyday circulation. But true rarity emerges from imperfections, unusual production circumstances, and those tiny details that most people would overlook but collectors obsessively search for. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is mint errors, because these are essentially mistakes that occur during the production process at the mint. And while modern minting technology is highly advanced, it is not perfect, meaning that from time to time, coins are struck with defects that make them unique, and these errors can range from subtle to dramatic, including double die errors, where the design appears slightly duplicated, off-center strikes where the coin design is not properly aligned, clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing, and even wrong planchet errors where a coin is struck on a metal blank intended for a completely different denomination. Now imagine discovering a 2010 penny that was struck on a planchet meant for a different coin, perhaps with a different weight or metal composition, instantly making it stand out from every other penny in existence. And such a discovery would immediately attract the attention of collectors and grading companies, because it represents a deviation from the standard production process. And in the world of numismatics, uniqueness often equals value, and sometimes extraordinary value. Another critical factor that determines a coin's worth is its condition, commonly referred to as its grade, and coins are graded on a scale that ranges from heavily worn to perfect mint state, and a 2010 penny that has never been circulated, with no scratches, no discoloration, and a flawless surface, can already be more valuable than a regular circulated coin. But when you combine perfect condition with a rare error, the value can increase exponentially, turning what was once a simple coin into a prized collectible that could be sold for thousands, or in extremely rare cases, even millions. Collectors also pay close attention to mint marks, those tiny letters that indicate where the coin was produced, such as Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. And while most 2010 pennies from these mints are common, certain batches or specific dies used during production may produce coins with subtle variations that become highly sought after over time, and sometimes these variations are only discovered years later, when collectors begin to notice patterns and anomalies that were not initially recognized. The process of identifying and authenticating such coins is meticulous and requires expertise, because the market for rare coins is highly competitive and, unfortunately, also susceptible to counterfeits, And this is why professional grading services play such a crucial role, as they examine coins under magnification, verify their authenticity, assign them a grade, and encapsulate them in protective holders, giving buyers confidence in what they are purchasing. And for a coin rumored or claimed to be worth something as extraordinary as $86 million, the level of scrutiny would be intense, involving multiple experts and detailed analysis. But beyond the technical aspects, there is also a psychological element to coin collecting, a sense of treasure hunting that drives people to search through jars of spare change, bank rolls, and old collections passed down through generations, hoping to find that one coin that stands out. And the 2010 penny fits perfectly into this narrative because it is recent enough to still be found in circulation, yet old enough for potential rare variations to have surfaced and gained recognition among collectors. Market value in the coin world is not fixed. It fluctuates based on demand, rarity, historical significance, and the overall condition of the coin. And while most 2010 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, or perhaps slightly more in uncirculated condition, a rare error coin can command significantly higher prices at auctions, where collectors compete to acquire unique pieces. And in extremely rare scenarios, when a coin is truly one of a kind or has an extraordinary story behind it, the bidding can reach astonishing levels, far beyond what most people would ever expect for such a small object. It is also important to understand that claims of extremely high values, such as tens of millions of dollars, should always be approached with careful analysis, because while the coin collecting world has seen some record-breaking sales, those are typically associated with historically significant coins, extremely rare early mintages, or unique specimens with well-documented provenance. And for a modern coin like the 2010 penny to reach such a value, it would require an unprecedented combination of rarity, error, condition, and collector demand, making it an exceptional case rather than the norm. Still, the possibility, no matter how small, continues to inspire collectors and enthusiasts, because the idea that something so ordinary could become extraordinarily valuable captures the imagination, and it turns everyday objects into potential treasures, encouraging people to look more closely at the coins they handle every day. Sometimes, the difference between an ordinary penny and a priceless one lies in the smallest detail, something that only a careful eye and a bit of curiosity can uncover. As the journey into the 2010 1-cent coin continues, the deeper you go, the more you begin to realize that the true fascination is not just in what the coin is, but in how it moves through time, through hands, through collections, and through the evolving market where its value is constantly being redefined by those who study, trade, and admire it, because every coin carries a silent history. And even a modern coin, like this one, can develop a story that transforms it from a simple piece of currency into an object of intense desire among collectors. One of the most important aspects that elevates a coin's significance is provenance, which refers to the documented history of ownership. And while this might sound like something reserved for ancient artifacts or famous paintings, it can also apply to coins, especially those that are rare or possess unique characteristics. Because if a 2010 penny were discovered with an extraordinary mint error and then passed through the hands of well-known collectors or auction houses, its story alone could add layers of value, making it more than just a physical object, but a piece of numismatic history. Another factor that plays a critical role in determining the importance of a coin is population data, which is maintained by grading companies that keep records of how many coins of a particular type and grade have been certified. And if a 2010 penny were to exist in an exceptionally high grade, such as a perfect mint state with no visible flaws even under magnification, and if only a handful of such coins were known to exist, this scarcity would immediately make it highly desirable. Collectors are always competing for the best of the best, and when supply is limited, demand can drive prices to incredible heights. There is also the intriguing world of die varieties, where small differences in the dies used to strike coins can result in noticeable variations, and these differences might include slight changes in lettering, spacing, or design elements, and while most people would never notice these details, experienced collectors can identify them instantly, and when a new variety is discovered, it often creates excitement in the collecting community, leading to increased demand and higher market values for those specific coins. In the case of the 2010 penny, the introduction of the Union Shield design marked a new chapter, and with any new design comes the possibility of early production inconsistencies. The transition period between designs can sometimes produce unexpected results, and collectors often pay close attention to the first year of a new design, knowing that these coins may hold special significance in the future, not necessarily because they are rare today, but because they represent a turning point in the series. The market for rare coins is also heavily influenced by auctions, where some of the most valuable coins in the world are bought and sold, often attracting wealthy collectors who are willing to pay extraordinary amounts to acquire a unique piece. And in such environments, the value of a coin is not just determined by its intrinsic qualities, but also by the competition among buyers. When two or more collectors are determined to own the same rare coin, the price can escalate far beyond its estimated value, creating record-breaking sales that capture global attention. However, it is crucial to approach sensational claims with a balanced perspective, because while stories of coins worth tens of millions of dollars are captivating, they are also extremely rare and often involve coins with exceptional historical importance, such as early American coins, gold coins from significant periods, or unique minting errors that are widely recognized and documented. And for a modern coin like the 2010 penny to reach a value of $86 million, it would require a level of uniqueness and recognition that goes far beyond typical collecting standards, making it an extraordinary hypothetical rather than a common reality. That said, the beauty of coin collecting lies in its unpredictability. Because new discoveries are made all the time, it's a previously unknown error, a rare variation, or a coin that has been overlooked for years before being recognized for what it truly is, and this constant possibility of discovery keeps the hobby alive and exciting, encouraging people from all walks of life to take a closer look at the coins they encounter, because sometimes the smallest details can lead to the biggest surprises. For those who are inspired to start searching for valuable coins, the 2010 penny offers a perfect entry point because it is still relatively easy to find, and by learning what to look for, such as unusual features, differences in weight, or signs of minting errors, anyone can begin their own journey into the world of numismatics. And while the chances of finding a coin worth millions are extremely slim, the experience itself, the thrill of the hunt, and the knowledge gained along the way can be just as rewarding. In the end, the 2010 one-cent coin is a reminder that value is not always obvious, that something small and seemingly insignificant can hold hidden potential, and that with curiosity, patience, and a keen eye, even the most ordinary objects can reveal extraordinary stories. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are the ones that are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice what others have overlooked. As this journey reaches its final stretch, what truly brings everything together is the realization that the 2010 one-cent coin is not just about metal, numbers, or even potential value, but about perspective, because the same coin that one person ignores can become the center of another person's obsession, research, and even fortune. And this contrast is what makes the world of coin collecting so powerful, turning everyday objects into gateways of curiosity, knowledge, and sometimes unbelievable opportunity. When you hold a 2010 penny today, you are holding a piece of a larger system, one that connects economics, history, and human behavior, because coins are not just currency, they are symbols of trust, authority, and national identity. And even a modern coin like this one reflects the ongoing story of the United States. From the legacy of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse to the bold Union shield on the reverse, representing unity in a world that constantly changes, and that symbolism alone gives the coin a deeper meaning beyond its face value. But what truly captures attention is the idea of hidden potential, because within the billions of coins produced, there is always that lingering question: what if one of them is different? What if one of them carries an unnoticed error, a rare variation, or an extraordinary condition that sets it apart from all the rest? And this, what if, is what drives collectors to keep searching, examining, and learning. The possibility of discovery never completely disappears. The market reality, however, requires clarity and honesty, because while stories of coins worth $86 million ignite excitement and imagination, such valuations are extraordinarily rare and would require a coin to possess truly unique characteristics, something that goes far beyond standard mint errors or high grades, and in most cases, the 2010 1-cent coin will remain a common piece of currency, worth its face value or slightly more to collectors in uncirculated condition, and understanding this balance between possibility and reality is essential for anyone entering the world of coin collecting. Yet even with that grounded perspective, the magic does not fade, because value is not only measured in money, it is also measured in knowledge, in the stories you uncover, and in the appreciation you develop for the craftsmanship and history behind each coin. And the 2010 penny, with its modern design and connection to a century-old tradition, becomes a perfect example of how something small can carry a legacy that stretches across generations. For collectors, the journey does not end with one coin. It expands into a lifelong pursuit of discovery, where every coin examined adds to their understanding, every rare find becomes a milestone, and every mistake or overlooked detail becomes a lesson, and over time, this process transforms a simple hobby into a deep passion, one that blends patience, observation, and a constant desire to learn. And for you, watching this, the next time a penny comes into your hand, whether it's from a purchase, a drawer, or even lying unnoticed on the ground, you might pause for just a second longer, you might turn it over, look closely at its date, its design, its tiny details, and in that moment, you are no longer just holding a coin, you are holding a question, a possibility, a connection to history, and maybe, just maybe, a hidden story waiting to be discovered. Because in the end, the true worth of the 2010 1-cent coin is not defined by headlines or exaggerated numbers, but by the curiosity it sparks, the stories it carries, and the reminder it gives that even the smallest things in life can hold extraordinary meaning, and sometimes, the difference between something ordinary and something priceless is simply the eye that chooses to see it differently.